Hey guys, welcome to the New Paradigm Intimacy podcast. I'm joined here today with the lovely Lion. He is an embodiment coach and he's worked in the realms of helping people with sexuality and life in general for the last 22 years. I'd love for you to share a little bit with us, Lion, about tell us a bit about your journey and where you've been for the last 22 years.
Well, it started off as thanks for having me, first of all. I really appreciate you asking, and I'm honored to be sharing with your audience. And so anybody who listens to this, you're going to be blessed up. And thank you for taking the time to open your mind to new information. And I really think that opening our mind to new information is what is the source of change in our life, because if we rely on what we've known already in the past, then we're going to keep getting what we've been getting. So my own journey has been very colorful, and I'd say I think what's most pertinent to the subject we're talking about today is what has brought me to where I exactly am right now in terms of my career and what I'm doing and what my focus is. And let me tell you what my focus is first. And for me, what's important is healing the relationships. And relationships has a wide breadth. It goes in all directions: money, family, to property, to opinions, to food, to yourself, to all that stuff, to sex, to money. I mean, it really just goes through all part aspects of our experience as a human being. And I believe that when we start working on our relationships to all things, then each one of these things has a fractal effect on the rest of our life and our relationship to all of the things, including our relationship to others and to the ecology. And I think that that's what's most important to me, is that we each do our individual work so that we can come together in a new way, and collectively we can enact a shift in what's going on in terms of our relationship to politics and failing systems and ecology. But it doesn't look like that on a daily basis. What it looks like on a daily basis is me helping people to overcome the blockages that they have by healing their relationship to their mind and their emotions and their sexuality, and creating cohesion with their internal landscape and their external expression. So helping people to find their authenticity, which is what I think is the Holy Grail. One of them is your unique gift, and that everybody has access to, and it's your uniqueness, your soul expression, the clothes you wear, the way you style your hair, the way you fuck, dance, eat, all the little artistic ways that you express yourself sometimes can seem idiosyncratic, and we often suppress those things at the cost of our authenticity. And I think that is really a big source of suffering, and your authenticity can be a source of power that we all have access to. It's what makes people really interested in me, and what makes me interested in other people is that aspect of them that makes them different. You can imagine if we all had the same haircut, lived in the same house, drove the same kind of car, and it would just be the most boring life ever, drab. And so it's those things, those outliers, the things that really pique your interest are the things that step outside of the norm. So I want to help people get to feeling a state of connection with their internal uniqueness and the aspects of themselves that they want to express, that they've been blocked to. And although the motivation behind it for me is ecological and personal, and what it looks like for the individual is helping them tailor the experience of life they want to have. Because I believe once you can attain everything you want, once you understand how to have everything you want, then you come to life abundant, and you manifest whatever it is that you want. And in that, you actually transcend desire. You realize that your internal milieu, your internal landscape of your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings, that is independent of external circumstances. You could be in a war zone, you could be in a spa at Bali, you could be in a cave in the Himalayas, and you can have, whatever energy you want running through you, and a mental experience as well. And what got me into this work of working with men and women, I've been working with both people for a long time, both sexes for a long time. But what really has brought me into working with men is I want to serve the goddess. And it sounds kind of weird, spiritual woo stuff. What I mean by that is there's a frequency of femininity pervasive in the field all around us, just like light waves. And gamma waves and sound and gravity, the solar flares, cellular, Wi-Fi, magnetic field. There's just, and all the emotions that you can think of are an actual wavelength that's pervasive in the field around us. That's palpable. You can pick it up with certain machinery or with this biological antenna suit. So our body, if we can tune our mind to allow these frequencies to be picked up, we can tune into all of these different frequencies. And I believe that once we can do that, once we can really palpably feel these energies within ourselves, then we allow things to flow through us without becoming blockages, and without stopping us from being able to show up to the moment totally free. And what I really want is to be able to interact with my brothers and my sisters on a super high level. And the frequency of femininity, which is like the creative force, it's art, it's emotion, it's chaos, it's beauty. This frequency is a part of all of us. And you came from your mom and your dad, and many of us are fractured away from it because we don't feel safe to really drop into it because it's been oppressed and maybe like damaged for many years, because the masculine frequency will push and it will just do what it wants to do, oftentimes with a myopic focus without seeing the effects of its goals. And it's what we see in our failing patriarchal system today, and the detriment to the ecology and everything behind the Me Too campaign. And all the sexual repression we see today is from the masculine, moving towards its goals without having an integration of the feminine. And I want to be able to drop in really deep with everybody that I stand in front of, and this is the kind of person that I am, is I want to be with you, and I want to really be deep with you. And that became a motivation for me to want to heal the social structure of the direct communities that I was related with. So I started creating events that were embodiment related, because I've been embodied for a long time. And what I mean by that is not just having physical dexterity, not just having the capacity to move your body and be strong and precise and all that, or dance well. What I mean by that is actually feeling emotional frequencies palpably within my being and being able to express them and kind of express what I am as an energy being, as an emotional being, as well as being connected with the physical form. And I think that's what for me has been most inspiring to people. And so I decided to create events that would allow people to access embodiment without the head. So I teach people how to turn off thought and be totally present and embodied. And it's basically in a meditative state. And I use dance as a medium, and I kind of bring people into a shamanic state, and I just lubricate the space, and everybody drops out of the head into the body, and they're allowed to express whatever energy is authentically being created between them and the other people. And I teach people how to not project into the relationships, how to not have ideas coming into your mind, but how to really feel and also feel other people. So I create a bit of emotional psychics, or a group of emotional psychics who can understand what's appropriate and inappropriate, and people just have the freedom to express themselves fully. And it was a mixing pot of everything you can think of, from screaming, crying, physical violence, sex, to and it's all consensual, but it's just like the full range of laughter, people holding each other, kids playing, just like this full range of the human experience. It was really a free space, and I realized, wow, how important it was. Now, you can imagine in that space how many triggers would come up, and so I give people the tools they need to express their emotionality and address their judgments of self and others, and how to understand how to work with their emotions and their thought patterns. And I would do that at the end of the class, because I have these tools that I created for myself, and I call it experiential therapy. And it has a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy and modern neuroscience, but also you directly experiencing things so that you understand them clearly in yourself. And in these spaces, people were getting triggered, stuff was coming up, and there's a lot of shadow pieces, the dark feminine, which is the victim, or the manipulator. Most I think of her as the victim. She's very present in men and women, especially in Bali, where I was living, is like 80% women, and they're coming here for an eat, pray, love experience. So they're coming here wounded, hoping to heal. And so that is like basically the majority of the population here was into being the victim, and everybody else is a perpetrator. And I realized, wow, holy shit, just for me being free and dancing with people and like having mutual respectful interactions that were like just totally transparent and consensual and healthy. Other people watching were having a really hard time, and it was becoming an issue in my life where it was blocking me from being able to connect with people authentically and freely. And so I was like, you know what, I really want to help everybody to learn about projecting, about their shadows, about their beliefs, their judgments of themselves and other people, and how to start to look inwards at the real underlying issues and sources of their triggers, rather than asking people to change for them, because people wanted me to stop being me. Instead of them overcoming their challenges. And I really knew that I want to be on a high playing field with everybody, and I don't want a facilitator to have to be in the room for us to be able to be free. And so I started giving people the skills that they need to be able to express their desires in a way that not only got what they wanted, but was could be celebrated. The way that they do it could be celebrated, because it was like creating healing and connection and transparency and honesty and consent, and doing it in a really beautiful way. Giving people the yes and no skills too, so that people can no longer blame, I couldn't say no, I was freezing. For me, that's bullshit. If you have a voice box, and I know it happens, like, yes, sometimes we freeze, we get scared, but we can learn to overcome that. We can learn to and I did when I was a little boy. I used to have a freeze response, you know, and I decided one day, like, even though I'm scared, I'm going to step up and take care of what I need to step up here. And it became a pattern in my brain because I got a feedback from that of empowerment. And so I wanted to help the victims to now become empowered. So, for example, if you got maybe you got attacked by a man who had a hat on, you can't say, I'm get triggered by hats, and so we all have to stop wearing hats. No, what we want to do as a collective is start to help you to overcome your trauma, so that we can, you know, like, all be free to wear hats if we want to. And so I gave people the skills they need to be empowered, and I gave other people the skills they need to express their desires in a way that was healthy and consensual, and how to like receive a no, and how to see the lack of 110% yes. And so then everything became really in the light. All this exploration of intimacy, love, sensuality, and even sexuality became very, it's like a methodical way you do it, and you go, the way you step into it and the way you step out of it, and the way you pay attention to what's actually present and not be goal oriented. Like all of this, I created a framework for human interaction that made the social discourse of expressing your interest and receiving interest really healthy and playful and easy and fun. And a lot of guys kept coming to me because I've been polyamorous for the last like 11 years, and I have transparency in my relationships. I'll have 3 women, beautiful, 10 out of 10, amazing, intelligent, master's degrees, like goddesses, activated, like powerful women, all living in the house with me at the same time. And they're supporting each other. Creating, what I did is I created a culture of us expressing our needs to one another and directly going to the people that were triggering us and asking for support. So owning our stuff, our emotions, not blaming and shaming, but owning it and asking for what we need directly from the person that we believe is the cause of it, that our subconscious believes is the cause of it. And so creating a kind of like cohesion in the female field. So healing that feminine frequency from within the sisterhoods, healing the feminine frequency inside myself by being an emotional being, being an emotional man, and expressing myself in a way that actually moves that energy, and learning so much through that process. And I've been passing that on to other men because they've been seeing, and people around the world, like, wow, how are you able to live these alternative relationship styles and have it really harmonious and working and beautiful and thriving? And they see me in the social space as being able to just basically go up to any human being, man or woman, that I feel an energetic resonance with, and create a deep bonded union immediately. And so that started off my journey with that, and the giving people the tools that I learned of how to actually live with integrity, like to use this power of connection and embodiment and energy in a way that actually facilitates healing. And how can I enact a larger change in the social structure so that can have a ripple effect, and because I wanted to reach more people. And then as of late, I have been, for the last 5 years or so, working with men directly online. So anywhere they have internet access, they sign on. We have an hour a week, and I basically take them through experiential therapy. I have them do things that give them the felt experience of all the spiritual kind of teachings and make theory into reality. And if you want, I can segue into some of the challenges that I've seen come up as a man working in this field, if that's something you want to talk about.
Yeah, I'll firstly just want to honor you for that epic transmission. That was amazing. And then, and I just love how you just really can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the layers. It's like so much resonance in that for me. So that's really exciting. The second, before we segue into that, I definitely do want to hear those pieces. And I want to hear about, like, I'm seeing that you've got this like really vast experience of how life can work. And what I want to hear is like, what, you got me?
Sorry.
I can hear you.
Let me just see. It's not working right now. Hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Is it working?
I'm just going to use the speaker.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Let me turn this up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better now actually.
Yeah? Okay, hold on a second,
Yeah.
because I can't hear you. I don't know why it's doing this.
Okay.
I turn off the Bluetooth. Let's see. My headset kicked off, and I don't hear you out of this. Maybe play. Can you say something?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Your mic is on.
My mic